Hi, my name is Taylor Moody. I'm 19 years old and I'm from Sanford, North Carolina. I've been attending Sandhills for 2 years and I am majoring in the medical laboratory technology field. I plan on graduating with an associate in applied science and hopefully getting a job at a hospital or doctor's office working in the lab. The reason that I wanted to research the medical laboratory was because I'm interested in it, I'm majoring in it, and I need to know the career advancement and education advancement opportunities that I have. I need to know the history of it. I need to know everything that I can so that I can do the most with it that is possible in my life so that I can achieve more things in my career. The reason that I was interested in medical laboratory technology was kind of a happy accident. I planned on majoring in polysomnography, but due to complications at Sandhills Community College, I was not able to do that. So I researched other areas of the Allied Health Department, and I found medical laboratory technology. What appealed to me about it was the little patient contact. The only time the technician has any patient contact with the patient is if the technician is performing phlebotomy, which is drawing the patient's blood. So now that I've said a little bit about why I was so interested in it, I need to explain what it is. Medical laboratory technology is a completely behind the scenes area of the hospital or doctor's office. It is where all the diagnostic tests are ran and really where the physician gets their final say of what is wrong with the patient. Now, some history of the medical laboratory field dates back to ancient Greek times when scientists like Hippocrates would analyze urine of people by putting drops of it on the ground and observing whether ants were attracted to it or not, to observe the sugar content of it. Even then, they had ideas that sugar content in the urine was directly related to the health of the patient. The first medical laboratory was built in 1896 at Johns Hopkins Hospital for a total cost of $50. In this time period, most physicians thought that medical laboratories were a waste of time and space. This idea changed when the causative agents of diseases like cholera and diphtheria were discovered in medical laboratories. By the 1960s, the medical laboratory was a very important part of the hospital, and most hospitals had one. Usually young women started out as pathologist assistants, which would be the modern day laboratory technician or technologist. They would run diagnostic tests for the pathologist so that he had more time to focus on diseases and cures. The responsibility of the medical laboratory technician or technologist can range anywhere from phlebotomy to analyzing blood samples on a chemistry analyzer, doing urinalysis, working in the hematology department, speciating microorganisms in the microbiology lab. Technicians can work in the blood bank, they can work in the immunohematology department, they can work in the pathology department, the blood bank. Any of those areas are all very important aspects of the medical lab, and they're all parts of the responsibilities of the technician or technologist. For example, I have these tubes. Now, these are tubes that are used in phlebotomy to draw and store blood. They're called vacutainer tubes. They have a vacuum system that draws the blood out of the vein through a needle, of course. And this is a green top tube. It has a chemical in it called heparin, which is an anticoagulant. Now, this tube would be sent to the chemistry department of the lab, and any kind of elements in it would be analyzed, such as hormones or trace elements, stuff like potassium and iron and such. And this purple top tube has a anticoagulant in it called EDTA, and it is used in the hematology department. Blood counts are done on this type of tube, and as you can see, this is a small tube. It is kind of backwards, but it's 4.0 milliliters, also called 4 cc's. This is a larger tube. It's a 6.0 milliliter, also called 6 cc. So this is a good example of how all the diverse departments of the lab come into play to diagnose one patient. Both of these tubes could be used on one patient. I also have this red one that separates, it's got this gel and it separates the serum from the red cells and white cells, and it could be used in the hematology department or the immunohematology department, pathology, any place. Blood banking to match blood types. And as you can see, that's an 8.5 milliliter tube, or 8.5 cc's. Okay, so now that we've had that example, I researched a lot of the avenues that somebody in my position that would obtain an associate in applied science could take after they completed that associate's degree. Now, what I found was generally people that have an AAS could obtain a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's in clinical laboratory science. And there are several online programs that can help these individuals achieve their goal. Even Winston-Salem State University has one, and one of our advisors and teachers of the medical laboratory program here at Sandhills is also a professor for them. Once that degree is obtained, the student can sit for another exam and become a clinical laboratory scientist or medical technologist instead of just a medical laboratory technician. Now, this opens up many job opportunities: lab management, supervisory positions, quality control positions. It just opens up a very broad spectrum of things that the technologist can do. General job opportunities for technicians and scientists alike in the field are hospitals, physician office labs, prisons, private laboratories, research laboratories, things like LabCorp and the Red Cross. Those are all very good opportunities and very realistic opportunities for a medical laboratory technician or clinical laboratory scientist. There are several organizations that support clinical laboratory professionals. The number one, probably most important, not important, but the number one largest organization was established in 1922, and it's called the American Society for Clinical Pathology. It has over 100,000 members, so that's a lot of people across the country. There are also organizations like the American Association of Blood Banks, the American Association of Clinical Chemistry, and so far and so on. In conclusion to all my research, I just feel that the medical laboratory is a very good opportunity for those that are interested in the allied health and those that really want to help people without that up-close contact. It's kind of hard sometimes for doctors and nurses to see people suffering and know that they may not be able to do anything for them. And in the lab, that doesn't happen because all you have is just a label. You don't have a face. You don't have a story. You just have a patient identifier and a name. And that allows you to really grasp your work without the worry and without the stress that some health professionals go through. It's a very progressive field, and it's a great opportunity for those who have a passion for the medical field.